was only 20. He just wanted to live. What's his crime? What do you say? Say something. I want to ask what was his crime.
Some say this movie laid bare the fate of the Chinese people. A bottle cost 40 yuan. Take it and go broke. Don't and you're dead. Between sky-high drug prices and survival, there is no right or wrong, only desperation.
I don't want to die. I want to live.
The simple plea, I don't want to die, I want to live, dragged him into a storm where life and money collide. Nuja of a piece. He's no savior, just an ordinary man trying to survive. One bottle, one life, a battle between conscience and reality. Branded drugs are unaffordable, while generics are branded as counterfeit. Countless souls are trapped between waiting for death and breaking the law.
What's wrong with breaking the law if it saves lives?
The film exposes a harsh truth. The most terrifying disease isn't terminal illness, but poverty disease.
I've sold medicine for many years. I've realized there's only one disease in this world.
Dying to survive isn't about a god. It's about an ordinary man who, torn between conscience and survival, ultimately chooses kindness. The most unremarkable of men, in the depths of despair, carved out a path to life for everyone. The entire film revolves around one theme: genuine drugs kill through neglect, while life-saving generics are deemed a crime. That heartbreaking line, there's only one disease in this world, and that's poverty, struck a chord with millions and sparked nationwide empathy. Its social impact was so profound, it directly catalyzed a series of major national healthcare reforms. Many wonder, how could a single movie command such national attention? The answer lies within the movie itself. Today, let's delve into this Chinese masterpiece, Dying to Survive. The protagonist, Chen Yong, is a down-and-out man struggling to get by in the city's back alleys. He scrapes a living selling Indian god oil, a product no one takes seriously. He is so broke that he can't even afford his rent. His elderly father is bedridden in the hospital, waiting for life-saving surgery. Meanwhile, his ex-wife is determined to emigrate abroad with their son. For the desperate Chen Yong, this is undoubtedly the final blow. During the custody negotiations, his ex-wife's lawyer tells him in a condescending, charitable tone that if he gives up custody, he will receive a settlement which would cover his father's surgery costs. This blatant trade of his son for cash instantly ignites Chen Yong's fury. He erupts into an argument with the lawyer on the spot and shoves his ex-wife to the ground. When she tries to intervene, the farce ends with Chen Yong being hauled off to the police station. The officer, itching to give him a beating, is none other than his ex-brother-in-law, Hao Bin.
If you ever touch my sister again, I'll kill you.
At this moment, Chen Yong huddles in the corner, pathetic and cowardly, but even as a failure, he still has people. He would die to protect his bedridden father and the son about to leave him, yet fate seems intent on stripping him of everything he has all at once. His ex-wife is set on taking the child, knowing all too well his dire financial straits. Buying his son a pair of shoes would wipe out his entire savings. On the other hand, his father is diagnosed with a hemangioma. The 100 yuan surgery fee is an impossible sum for a man who can't even scrape together 20 yuan. Without the money, his father won't survive. Without money, he can't even keep custody of his son. Just as he hit rock bottom, he remembered a strange man introduced by a hotel owner a few days ago. The man was deathly pale, thin as a rail, and wore 3 layers of surgical masks. He wasn't there for the god oil, but to plead for medicine. His name was Lu Shuyi, a chronic myeloid leukemia patient. The price of genuine Gleevec was exorbitant, far beyond what an ordinary family could afford. He hoped Chen Yong could use his smuggling channels to bring back generic versions from India. A bottle of the genuine drug costs 40 yuan and must be taken for life, a financial death sentence for any patient's family. Yet the Indian generic drug, with nearly identical efficacy, cost only 20 yuan. Lu Shuyi promised Chen Yong 30 yuan in commission if he agreed to help. At first, Chen Yong flatly refused. Smuggling drugs meant prison time, but Lu Shuyi didn't give up. He left his phone number before walking away.
I'm just waiting for the medicine to save my life.
Caught between the risk of prison and his father's life, Chen Yong was torn on. Despite the severe consequences, being backed into a corner, he decided to take the risk and flew to India with a final glimmer of hope. Upon arriving at the Indian factory, Chen Yong realized the profits were beyond imagination, as the wholesale price was incredibly low. Even selling it for 10 yuan, a bottle back home, would yield massive profits. More importantly, he was the first Chinese person to approach this factory. Securing the exclusive agency would mean monopolizing the entire Chinese market. However, the money he brought was only enough for 100 bottles. The owner looked disappointed. Chen Yong tried his best to explain. Countless people in China are waiting for this medicine to survive.
So he wants to be a savior. You want to be a savior? Ha 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 ha. I don't want to be any savior. I just want to make money. Making money means cash.
The boss saw the greed in his eyes and finally gave him a 1-month trial. If he could sell these 100 bottles, the exclusive agency would be his. Chen Yong knew that securing the agency was his only way to turn his life around. Upon his return, he contacted Lu Shuyi immediately. The moment he saw the drug, Lu Shuyi finally saw a glimmer of hope. But he was too afraid to help sell it. He knew all too well that selling unapproved drugs was against the law.
Help me, and you'll have medicine to take and money to make. But if you don't help me...
To stay alive, Lu Shuyi had no choice but to help Chen Yong find buyers. But every patient they approached rejected them outright. No one dared buy drugs from unknown sources. Lu Shuyi, already frail, grew even weaker within a few days.
I fucking realized you're just a fraud.
Chen Yong's blunt words left him feeling stung and humiliated. After much deliberation, Lu Shuyi decided to take him to see someone. The two went to a nightclub and found Shiwi on the dance floor. She was the moderator of the local leukemia patient support group. Once she heard Lu Shuyi had verified the drug's efficacy, Shiwi let down her guard. Soon, through Shiwi's connections, a dozen group moderators came to meet Chen Yong wearing masks. They bowed respectfully to greet him. At that moment, Chen Yong saw a massive business opportunity. He told them that the genuine drug costs 40 yuan a bottle in China. He's only selling it for 50. Yet the group leaders' brows remain furrowed. Even at this price, they still can't afford it.
5 yuan, and you still think it's too expensive. And don't take it at all. And when you're talking to me, can you take off those masks? I can't even tell who's who.
They reluctantly take off their masks, revealing faces pale and haggard from illness as coughing echoes through the room. A surge of guilt hits Chen Yong, and he grants them a 20% discount on the spot. With this concession, sales instantly skyrocket. The generic drugs at 50 a bottle are now in high demand. To expand the business, Chen Yong assembles a team. Besides Lu Shuyi and Shiwei, he brings in the English-speaking pastor Liu, a devout Christian. The pastor is initially unwilling to touch anything illegal, but Chen Yong shatters his final reservations with a single question.
What's wrong with breaking the law to save lives?
Didn't God say, if I do not enter hell, who will?
The last to join is the taciturn and gutsy Huang Mao Peng Hao. Having been ill for years, he works alone at a slaughterhouse. To avoid being a burden to his family, he didn't steal the medicine for himself, but to share it with poorer patients. Impressed by his loyalty and kindness, Chen Yong recruits him into the team. Thus the healing team, each with their own baggage yet united by the medicine, is officially assembled. As the business grows, Chen Yong secures the exclusive agency for the Indian pharmaceutical factory. Boxes of drugs flow steadily into Shanghai, replaced by stacks of cash. His father's surgical costs are easily covered. Chen Yong has finally crawled out of the gutter of his old life. Grateful patients even present him with silk banners of thanks. The high of making money While saving lives starts to get to his head, he cleared all of Huang Mao's debts, paid his wages on time, distributed the medicine, and specifically warned him not to give it away to others randomly.
Take it. Thanks, Brother Yang. Thank you. What?
Who are you picking up? 我是谁？What? And now to Chen is of you.
You're welcome. The generous wave of his hand. He treated the whole team to a celebratory dinner. After a few rounds of drinks, the nightclub manager tried to force Siwi to drink and dance with her. Chen Yong stepped in to protect her, tossing a stack of cash and telling the manager that Siwi was a guest today, not a dancer.
Can you dance? Are you going to dance or not?
Faced with the money, the arrogant manager had to swallow his pride and perform a pole dance in public. But as the generic drugs became a hit, a crisis began to loom. Chen Yong's Indian cleave directly threatened the profits of the original pharmaceutical company. Indian law does not recognize drug patents allowing low-cost generic drugs to be produced legally. However, Chen Yong's smuggling was essentially cutting off the revenue stream of the original drug manufacturer. They immediately teamed up with the police to close in on him, intending to justice. Meanwhile, someone showed up to cause a scene, claiming their family member got sick after taking Chen Yong's medicine and insisting that he was selling fake drugs. Siwei was absolutely certain the medicine was fine, as her own daughter had been taking it. An investigation revealed it was a setup by a competitor, a fake drug dealer named Zhang Changlin, who posed as a medical expert. He brainwashed people at patient meetups to sell useless fake German Gleevec at half the price of Chen Yong's medicine. And abruptly, the patients who caused the scene had actually taken his fake drugs. To stop more people from being scammed, the two sides broke into a massive brawl at the venue. The scene descended into absolute chaos. Sensing trouble, Zhang Changlin took advantage of the mayhem to flee. Chen Yong's group was taken to the police station. It was there that Chen Yong accidentally learned that trafficking smuggled drugs could carry a life sentence. Those words struck him like a thunderbolt, instantly dampening all his hubris and frenzy. The grave consequences of drug trafficking dragged him from his dream of overnight riches back to cold, hard reality. One day, Lao Lu invited Chen Yong to his home for dinner. The small room was cozy. As his child slept soundly, Lao Lu whispered to Chen Yong, "So hope I can watch my child grow up, see him get married and have kids, so that I can become a grandfather too." Lao Lu's wife prepared a feast. Although Lao Lu never drank, he raised a glass to toast Chen Yong. Chen Yong knew in his heart that this family saw him as their savior. The weight of this gratitude was immense. Soon after, the fugitive fake drug dealer, Zhang Changlin, showed up. This villain, who profited from the misery of others, demanded that Chen Yong sell him the distribution rights. Chen Yong refused on the spot, without a second thought. But the next day, the police arrived, clearly tipped off by Zhang Changlin. Fortunately, Huang Mao and Lao Lu reacted quickly, hiding the remaining drugs in a dumpster, narrowly saving Chen Yong from prison. This incident left Chen Yong terrified. He realized that if he were arrested, there would be no one to care for his sick father, and his son would move abroad with his ex-wife. He couldn't sleep all night. To wash his hands of it all, he sought out his rival, Zhang Changlin. He handed over all the distribution channels and agency rights for Indian Gleeve to him in one go. Chen Yong set only one rule: the price of the medicine must not be raised. He must continue to supply the medicine to the patients. Zhang Changlin readily agreed. Just like that, Chen Yong sold the national agency rights, which he had risked his life for 2 million yuan. One rainy night, he gathered everyone for dinner. It was a farewell meal. He announced that from then on, he would no longer sell the medicine. The lively atmosphere instantly turned into silence.
So you're just going to throw the patients to a fake drug dealer?
So what if I do? The supply hasn't stopped. The price is just a bit higher. It's still cheaper than 40 yuan.
Many people can't even afford 5 days' worth. Don't you know that...
And what the hell does that have to do with me? I'm just a damn oil salesman. I really look after all those people. I have an elder father and a young son to support. fucked up. What happens to them?
Desperate Wang Mao stood up and toasted Cheng Yong aggressively. The glass shattered on the floor, and their friendship broke with it. Yui and the pastor said nothing, silently getting up to leave. The only one left was Lao Lu, who simply wanted to stay alive.
Get out.
His eyes were bloodshot with desperation. This medicine was everyone's lifeline. Cheng Yong quitting was equivalent to cutting off their only means of survival. But Cheng Yong's mind was made up. He didn't want to go to prison, didn't want to trade the rest of his life for this money. Finally, wearing 3 layers of masks, he disappeared into the heavy rain. A year flew by, and Cheng Yong used up $2 million to open a textile factory, running a legitimate business. He lived a stable and decent life, becoming a completely different man. His former companions and the patients waiting for their lives to be saved. He buried his heavy conscience deep within his heart, until one day, Lao Lu's wife suddenly showed up at his door. Sobbing on her knees, she begged Cheng Yong to save Lao. It turned out that once Zhang Changlin took over the distribution channel, he immediately hiked the price to 20 yuan a bottle, eventually cutting off the supply and fleeing. He is now a fugitive, wanted by the police. Without the generic drug, Lao Lu had to return to the genuine ones. Soon his life savings were drained. His condition worsened rapidly. After several suicide attempts, he is now on the brink of death. Consumed by guilt, Cheng Yong rushed to the hospital, seeing Lao Lu so emaciated and ravaged by illness that he was barely recognizable. He was left utterly speechless. Yet Lao Lu didn't blame him, only offering a weak smile, repeating his sole wish to see his son grow up. When the nurse came for debridement, Lao Lu practically stuffed a towel into his mouth. Unable to watch any longer, Cheng Yong silently turned away.
Yeah, right.
Hearing the suppressed wails, it suddenly dawned on him. Lao Lu wanted to end it. All death would be his only release. The only reason he endured was because he couldn't leave his child behind. Those wails struck Cheng Yong's conscience like a hammer, and he decided right then to return to India. But just as Cheng Yong left, Lao Lu knew he was beyond saving. To stop being a burden to his family and to end his own suffering, he ended his agonizing life in the ward while his wife and son were asleep. By the time Cheng Yong rushed back, he was only in time for the funeral. The day of the funeral, the hallway was lined with leukemia patients in surgical masks. They watched him in silence, their eyes filled with grievance, despair, and silent reproach. With bloodshot eyes, Wang Mao glared at him, a look that pierced Cheng Yong's heart like a blade. That night, Cheng Yong finally realized that what he had walked away from wasn't just a business. It was countless living human lives. This time, without a moment's hesitation, he flew back to India with the money. Even after learning the Swiss company had sued, and the factory could be shut down at any time, he still pleaded with the owner to keep supplying drugs under pressure until the final verdict. After returning to China, Cheng Yong gathered the patient group leaders at his factory. Disregarding the cost, he bought them for 500 yuan in India and sold them for the same 500 back home, making zero profit. He even covered the shipping costs to ensure patients could afford their medicine.
Starting next week, we'll begin selling the medicine again. But I can only guarantee supply for my previous patients. Please keep this quiet. Understand my position. I don't want to go to prison.
How much are you paying for them? These didn't use smashed into
500. The old squad was back together from his initial hostility to witnessing Cheng Yong's transformation. Wang Mao let go of his grudge entirely. He risked everything to help him transport the drugs. They all knew that this time it wasn't about the money. It was about saving lives. But as the generic circulated again, the pharmaceutical companies grew restless and pressured the police. Even though Zhang Changlin was on the run, the drugs were still being sold, proving that someone else was still supplying them. The entire police force was mobilized. After raiding the Patient Mutual Aid Association and their residences, they indeed discovered a massive cache of generic drugs. Yet during interrogation, all the patients remained resolutely silent, as if by prior agreement. Even under the threat of detention, no one would reveal the source of the medicine. They all understood that betraying Cheng Yong meant cutting off their only lifeline. Captain Xiao Bin grew desperate just as he was about to take everyone to the station. A white-haired, elderly woman stood forward and tearfully spoke the most heart-wrenching lines in the entire film.
We take the genuine medicine at 40 yuan a bottle. I took it until I bankrupted my family. Now, we finally have affordable medicine. But you insist it's counterfeit, whether it's fake or not. Don't you think we would know that medicine only cost 500 yuan a bottle? The dealer isn't making any profit at all. Whose family doesn't face illness at some point? Can you guarantee you'll never get sick in your life? Oh, well, if you take him away, we'll all be left to die. I just want to live.
These words shattered Ko Bin's tough exterior as a police officer, plunging him into deep self-doubt. Ultimately, at the risk of being disciplined, he released everyone and even pleaded with the bureau chief.
What we're doing now will lead to trouble. This is essentially cutting off the patient's lifeline.
I'm in a really tough spot.
You're in a tough spot. You think it's easy for me?
Left.
This is where the law outweighs mercy. Haven't you seen enough of those as law enforcers? We must stand on the side of the law.
Move aside.
Meanwhile, the fugitive Zhang Changlin secretly approached Chen Yong, demanding 200 yuan to flee or he'd report him. Chen Yong didn't refuse and even gave an extra 100, asking only that he keep his mouth shut forever before leaving with the money. Zhang Changlin left him with a desperate truth.
I've been selling drugs for so many years. I've realized there's only one kind of disease in this world.
Poverty disease.
You can't cure this disease, and you can't save everyone.
Just give it up.
Shortly after Zhang Changlin was caught, but this man who lived for profit surprisingly didn't snitch on Chen Yong, and Yong also knew that it was only a matter of time before he was caught, but there wasn't a trace of fear on his face. That night, he and Huang Mao went to the dock to pick up goods as usual. Huang Mao had cut off his signature yellow hair, making Chen Yong burst out laughing. It turned out he was planning to visit his parents in a few days and got a haircut for the trip. It seemed Huang Mao had really taken Chen Yong's words to heart.
I've been back home to see them.
No more for me. They think I've been dead for a long time. I'll head back after this. Okay.
But you're still alive, aren't you? It's only a matter of time. Nay, you should still go back and see them. Get a proper haircut before you go.
At this moment, they had no idea the police had already laid a dragnet. Huang Mao spotted the police after coming out of the restroom and ran back desperately. He wanted to warn Chen Yong, but when he rushed up to him, he suddenly stopped.
What's wrong?
I feel great.
If you're done, get in the truck.
He thought of a way to protect Chen Yong. After one last look at him, Huang Mao drove off alone to draw the police away.
Applause.
Xiao Bin rushed into the hospital with Huang Mao in his arms, but he was a moment too late. That young life came to an end right there. Chen Yong reached the hospital at that moment.
Where is he? He's gone.
Let go of me. He was only 20. He just wanted to live. What was his crime? What did you say? Speak up. I'm asking you, what was his crime?
He went to the morgue to see Huang Mao for the last time, and then went to Huang Mao's rented room. Seeing the train ticket home already bought, he finally broke down in tears. The boy who once wandered like a stray dog in order to repay a kindness, and for the sake of everyone, to ensure Chen Yong could keep saving others, he sacrificed his life on the way back home. At that moment, Chio Bin's convictions completely crumbled. He could no longer bear the duty of upholding justice as he knew it. He asked the bureau chief to take him off the task force, willing to accept any disciplinary action. He simply didn't want to arrest any more good people. Meanwhile, the Indian pharmaceutical factory was ordered to shut down by local police. Chen Yong's supply of the drug was completely severed. The only option left was to buy from local retail pharmacies at full market price at 20 yuan a bottle. The cost had quadrupled, but at this critical juncture, Chen Yong didn't hesitate for a second. He simply told the pastor to keep ordering as usual.
Then, how much should we charge? 500. I'll cover the difference.
He was using his own lifeblood to keep the patients alive, knowing full well that his own time was running out. So, before the police could close in on him, he asked Sihui to contact patient groups in other cities determined to save as many lives as possible. As the word spread, countless desperate families staring at their screens felt the spark of hope for life once more. But this came at a cost of hundreds of thousands in losses.
You're going to lose hundreds of thousands every month.
Think of it as paying back. Tell old Liu to go ahead with the order.
To ensure his son could live a stable life in the future, Chen Yong made the painful decision to send Xiaoshu to live with his ex-wife.
You have to take care of yourself from now on. Okay, once you land and see your mom, give me a call.
Bound for airport announcement.
Passengers of China Eastern Airlines flight is now boarding.
He had planned his final way out. Even if he were arrested, his son would grow up in a stable home, unburdened by the stigma of having a criminal father. With everything settled, he no longer hid or feared, even if it meant losing everything. He was determined to deliver the final batch of medicine. However, on the day of delivery, the police closed in. After all, to allow the others to escape, Chen Yong blocked the road with his car, obstinately holding back the police cars. He sacrificed his own freedom to buy them one last chance at life. Despite his best efforts, all the patients present were eventually apprehended. In the solemn courtroom, Chen Yong remained composed and made a full confession. He had anticipated this outcome from the very beginning, sought no lawyer, entered no plea of innocence, and asked for no leniency. Before the sentencing, he only requested a moment to speak from the heart.
I broke the law. Whatever the sentence is, I have no complaints. But looking at these patients, my heart aches. They can't afford those exorbitantly priced imported drugs. They are left with no choice but to wait for death, or even take their own lives. But I believe things will get better and better in the future.
It was a criminal's confession, but also an ordinary hero's monologue. Law is impartial. Chen Yong was sentenced to prison, yet on the way there, the streets were lined with patients who came to see him off, all wearing masks, watching in silence without a single sound, paying tribute to this ordinary hero in the most profound silence. One by one, they removed their masks, revealing faces marked by suffering yet filled with sincerity, a silent testament to his life-saving grace. Chen Yong is no god. He was once down and out, selfish and afraid, yet he ultimately chose to follow his conscience. He evolved from a common man into the medicine god in the hearts of many. Losing money, he accepted it. Taking risks, he accepted it. Even behind bars, he had no regrets, for he had seen Too many families ruined by the cost of a single bottle of medicine. Survive, they humble themselves to the very dust. Every time I finish watching Dying to Survive, my heart feels incredibly heavy, yet it's also deeply warming. A true bittersweet mix of emotions. What touches people most isn't some earth-shattering plot, but how realistically it portrays ordinary people struggling with life, death, money, and conscience. Chen Yong evolved from a petty merchant chasing profits in a savior for a group of patients. In the end, he chose to lose money and face prison just to provide the medicine. This glimmer of humanity is profoundly moving. Those CML patients, they aren't just statistics. They are fathers, mothers, sons, and daughters who just want to live. They live on edge, swallowing their pride for a single bottle of medicine. It's enough to bring anyone to tears. The film doesn't simply paint anyone as a villain. Drug companies need to cover RD costs. The police must uphold the law. Patients just want to survive. Everyone has their own justification, yet they collide to form the most helpless reality. Most unforgettable is the line, "There is only one disease in this world, the disease of poverty." It's not a critique of anyone, but a reminder to us all that true kindness is seeing the suffering of others, and true greatness is choosing to shoulder someone else's burden when you could have just saved yourself. Such is life, a complex dilemma between good and evil. There are no born gods of medicine, only those who choose kindness in the face of darkness. May the disease of poverty vanish, and may everyone fighting to live be treated with tenderness. To live well is the ultimate respect for life itself.